I've already had people this week saying they refuse to ever listen to the show again. And that's before you came on. Lisa Hunt, welcome back.
I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah.
And if people don't want to listen, then they're foolish. I mean, people don't like to hear things that they don't agree with.
It's nice the way you're, inviting them in right away like
I'm
that.
inviting them in.
Very,
you need to hear opinions that are different from your own.
So, what's new with you?
I'm feeling better. I have been sick so long. Don't ever get sick. Sickness is not good. I'm not a good sick person.
But I'm glad you're feeling well.
I'm feeling so much better.
Are you still working?
No, actually I'm not. I'm not a working woman.
Not working right now.
No, I needed to take some time
You're living
off.
the leisure life.
Yes, the life of luxury too, I might add.
That. Very nice.
So much money and not working.
All right, and you were just, we were talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm a big 49er fan. I always have
You used to
been.
live out there.
I did.
Yeah.
And I don't think we played very well, so it's not that disappointing. I think we don't.
They didn't make the Super Bowl.
I don't think we have
Did
a
you know
quarterback.
that? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's not nice. You have a quarterback.
We have a
He just
quarterback. I just don't think
that's
he's
not every week.
That's it. He's not consistent.
That's all.
Sometimes Alex is great, and sometimes Alex was like he was.
I was saying
week.
the day after that game, he had Tebow numbers, but it wasn't a Tebow game. You know what I mean? Yeah. He had like the Tebow numbers, but he didn't have the Tebow outcome.
Yeah, we got that.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks for being here, Lisa.
I'm so glad I'm here.
All right. Hey, Cary Clack has been on Gang of Four on and off over the years, and he worked for the Express News as a columnist, and then he got a real grown-up job.
Yeah.
He's the communications director for the Joaquin Castro Congressional campaign, which really means he's the communications director for future Congressman Joaquin Castro. Because let's face it, only an errant via bus could really prevent, right?
We take nothing.
I know. Have you guys figured out where your district is yet?
Well,
You have a rough idea. Yeah, they're not redrawing District 20.
Yeah, and, even when we were still in 35, it was uncertain.
Yeah.
In moments of overconfidence, I would say, what district are we running in? The District of Columbia.
There you go. There you go. I like that
Very
arrogance.
good.
That DC arrogance before he even gets there. I like that. So you're able to do this? You're able to come on this disreputable
As long
show?
as y'all want me, I can.
Well, that's incredible. The standards are lower
I think
over
my
there
boss
in
was
DC
here a
than I
couple of weeks
thought.
ago, right?
He was here,
Okay.
yes, but he's very careful. Joaquin is very careful with what he says on our show.
Calculating, some would
Yeah, it's
say.
very calculating, and I don't expect that from you to say.
Smart.
Do
The
you
word is
miss-
smart. He's a smart
Do you
guy.
miss writing the column? Is it like
He thinks
sometimes
before
you
he
wake up
talks.
thinking, "Oh my gosh, I got to come up with an idea," and then
Jack, I knew there came a point when I knew that I wouldn't miss the 3 days a week deadline.
right, a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but I've been shocked, and I tell people this all the time. It's been almost 4 months, and I don't miss it at all. I've got all my friends. I love my friends and everything, but I don't miss it, and it just.
And they tell Cary, you know, Cary, we don't miss it either. So that's, no, that's not true. That's not true. No, it's not the same without you.
It's different, and I appreciate the people who tell me they do miss me. But the fact that I don't miss it surprises me. But I can never thank the Express News for all that they've done for me in my career. I can never thank them enough.
So they're still paying you. No, I'm just Well, Cary Clack is here on Gang of Four, and our brand new Gang of Four guy,
Yay!
and we're hoping he'll like it enough to come back again, is comedian Jay LaFarr. Jay, I have to tell you, when our producer Taylor said, I found a guy who we really need on Gang of Four, he's a comedian, I took that a little personally. No, then he showed me some stuff that, some of your work on YouTube. You're a very, very funny guy. Now tell me a little bit about what you're up to these days.
Oh, just work. All I do is work. I've been doing a lot of shows and getting ready to go out back on the road for a lot of the year. I'm on the road about 26 weeks a year, and then I do another.
Is that because you need to write the other time, or?
Some jokes write themselves. You know how it is. Some things just happen that you just see, and then they're just fun. This upcoming election is going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah,
to work with.
no kidding.
And I think, Obama, he's been a sad president so far, but he, the Republican candidates are pretty awful, too. I'm kind of disappointed in
It's a race to the bottom.
Yeah, we've got our expectations so low now that It's I don't even care.
Do you do mainly political
I do some
content,
political
or-
stuff, but most people in audiences don't want to hear political things because nothing divides room. We could probably all agree that nothing divides room more quickly than religion or politics.
So you got to keep people with you. You can't be.
Yeah, but I also really don't care because I know I'm getting paid a lot of the time,
Right.
so I can still I can say whatever the hell I want.
That's good that you're getting paid a lot of the time. I think that's the right way to do
Yeah.
it. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it helps pay.
How did you get started doing stand-up?
I had failed at just about everything in my life.
I understand that.
I actually started maybe 9 years ago, in here in San Antonio too. I came down here to visit my sister for a week and stayed.
So many comedians I've interviewed say that the first time they did it was like an open mic night, or they did it
Yeah.
on a dare. Was that your?
I had gone to the River Center Comedy Club and I saw 3 comedians, and one of them was Daniel Tosh.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I'd ever seen a show here in San Antonio, and then I saw the first 2 guys. I was like, I could do better than that.
Yeah.
And then I went up at the open mic and I bombed horrifically. And so then you just keep going back, it's that type of thing. But yeah, open mics and they have them all. They still have one every Tuesday at the Laugh Out Loud on 410 and Blank.
Yeah. Well, I give you a lot of credit. I get on here every day and do this, but to do it in front of an audience.
I think it's one of the most courageous things,
And-
seriously,
Me too.
in entertainment that you can do.
know
You
that.
liberals stop sucking up to me.
They're trying.
Yeah, because we're about to attack you.
Yeah.
so you better
That's
get
all.
used
This
to
is
it
as
now.
nice as it will get you.
Yeah.
There you go. But he's funny, so it always it will have an edge to it when he disagrees with
You won't
us.
be laughing by the end of this.
That's what you
No,
think.
but the difference is, and I think we can all. The nice part about living in this country is that we all can disagree, and then we can go home, and we're not going to be blown
Absolutely.
up in our houses.
Well, us, yes. There are people that really are crazy, though, that don't.
Oh yeah, on both. That's the thing. But no one ever seems to accept that anymore. That everyone who's an extremist, no matter what your political leaning, is a douche. That they're bad people, and we need to get rid of them because most of us, I think, are more centrist in our beliefs.
I think we definitely agree on more than we disagree.
Yeah, and that's what makes us a great country and makes people want to.
This is ridiculous. You two are being way too reasonable.
No,
Well,
no,
right now we are. You haven't
That is
picked it. You
enough.
haven't. I know
All
we're
right.
going to talk about the what of it.
Obama's comment.
There's so much
There,
to.
I threw it.
Thank you. Finally. There's so much to talk about, but for starters, I guess I always thought that Puerto Rico would be our 51st state. I'm having a hard time with the moon is going to be our next state. There's going to be 13,000 Americans. I don't know why 13,000. We're going to get them up there, and they're going to petition to be a state. First of all, if you could make it all the way to the moon, why would you want to be a state?
I think it should be a prison.
Yeah, like you go for planethood or something, But
Prisonhood.
What about this idea? I mean, what could be crazier in an election year where the country is broke and people are worried and nobody seems to know how to get them back to work? How does it enter your mind that you and I know you're in Florida, which has these jobs, these space jobs, but still, really? A space colony, a moon colony, Cary?
One of the things about Newt that I actually do kind of admire is that he'll go there. I mean, in this case, he really will go there. But
He lets her fly.
yeah, he lets it, and
They're not focus grouping this stuff. They're just,
But that's where there's a constituency. Even the most fervent lovers of the space program, I don't think that's ever crossed their mind. When he was going to give this in anticipation, he said he was going to give this big speech on space. I thought he was going to talk about Mars. They were going to Mars, would be exciting.
well, there's still more primaries. We may be going there.
But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what percentage of the lunar vote he gets in
The
Florida
lunar vote.
with this.
Because, Jay, he could have just promised to put those people back to work. Or
Oh, well, no,
launch
that's a
few
crazy
rockets, but
idea,
no.
like building a pipeline that would bring jobs to the United States.
Let's go to the moon.
That's silly. I have about 60 people I'd like to send there.
Yeah, so you're already working on the 13,000.
Oh, yeah. Pelosi. She should be the mayor.
Well, I had a lot of people say to me that if the politicians think this is a good idea, Lisa, that maybe they should go first, and we'll see how that works out.
I think it should be a prison colony.
A prison colony.
For who, though?
For a place you can't escape from, and a place that you wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, but if it was
Kurt
left up
Russell
to-
could escape from the moon.
Kurt Russell could, I know,
He's left
but
up
he's
to
like the
liberals,
only
so he'd be
one.
back here every 6 months.
And maybe Snake from that video game, but that's about it.
Are you guys watching the debates? They say that there were 7 million people watched the NBC debate Monday night. This is the second biggest audience they've had. I don't know what the ratings were for last night. Are you watching them?
Isn't that how many debates we had?
7 million.
Holy crap! This is the most debates ever, right?
For 1920
Yes.
now,
Yeah.
And the Democrats in 08 had a lot, but at the beginning I was watching it, I kind of trailed off, and then the ascension of Newt. I mean, Newt to me is must watch TV because you don't know what he's going to say, which was interesting because last night he was definitely off his game, but I'm watching it because Ron Paul is so quirky. Santorum looks like sometimes he's the most eloquent person on stage. But I'm watching not for the right reasons. I'm watching for the entertainment value of
me too.
Romney and
I'm not watching all of them either, but I'm watching parts of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just gets too much. It's like they've started talking about the taxes that Romney's paying, and they've started talking about, a bunch of stuff that really, at this point, isn't really debatable kind of stuff. I mean, it's like the tax system is the way it is. This is why it should be changed. But that's all you can really get out of it. You can't really pull any important, that's why I want to vote for
So
you
Jay,
out
if
of
it's
it.
like a wacky reality show, how does that help the Republicans?
It doesn't. This is the thing that annoys me the most is that after all these primaries, after all of the debates, then all those bad things that they've said about each other are out there for the Democrats to use against them. It's kind of like when Obama and Clinton were going against each other, and Hillary Clinton was going to come out with how Obama had done marijuana and done cocaine and had affairs on his wife, and that she had affairs on him. I just like to remind America of that every now and then. But she had come out with all that stuff, and she was going to come out, but then he came out on there and said, my wife and I cheated on each other, I did cocaine, a lot of it, and smoked a lot of pot. Next.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, what can we say? I mean, there's nothing you can say then. He had already owned up to it, which is what I think why good people are never going to run for office again, because really good people at their jobs have done stuff. They've made huge mistakes. They've failed miserably, but then they've learned and they've gone on from it. And so now that's why we have to take middle-of-the-road people. Same with Supreme Court justices. We're never going to have a great Supreme Court justice again for that same reason, because we can never have anyone who is of great vision, because people with great vision do stupid things.
So then really, they got to think.
Whoa, wait.
I want to go back to the Obama admitted to doing the cocaine, but you talk about Obama and Michelle regard that was
that came out.
A lot of stuff has come out, but it's nothing true. Obama admitted to him and Michelle having.
Did he tell you that?
What did he tell you?
No, I'm saying
That
this was
never
what
came
was
out.
out. This is what was out that
Well,
Hillary
so
Clinton was going to
See
say.
how irrelevant it is?
Okay, now
That's what she was going to say.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, you said that he came out and said and admitted to
Or
it.
it came out.
No, the cocaine, in his youth, but not marriage infidelity. I mean, there's a book out now about the Obama's marriage, and I mean that part's not true. The cocaine he admitted to in his youth, but not the marriage.
So he didn't admit
infidelity.
to his infidelity in the book?
You're talking about infidelities. I mean,
I'm just saying this was what was out there.
Infidelity was never an issue during the 08. You can go of all the stuff that came out against Obama in 08. That was not one of them.
Was cocaine an issue?
Yes, because he brought it up in his book.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
He
an
brought
issue.
it up
It was
in
a
his book.
non-issue.
Oh no! You can go back to the primaries when the New Hampshire governor's husband was making an issue of it. Bob Johnson of BET was making an issue of Obama's usage of cocaine, which again we knew about because Obama had written about it. All I'm saying is that the issue of marriage and infidelity, of all the crap that came out about Obama in 08 and since then, that has never been one of them.
Well, we'll have to. I wish we had a laptop or something here we could look up these things
it's
for.
kind of irrelevant. This is that irrelevant
Sure.
subject that we've been talking about. Who cares?
I don't think
Do you care?
person.
Do you care that he did cocaine?
Hell no.
The thing is that you just basically said that people who tell you that they've done bad things. I did it too when my youth. Who cares? I'm over it. I'm over everything. But the thing is that you basically just said that you have more respect, and in a way, this is what I gathered from that, people who admit that they've done things, and that and then you think he's, somebody told me the other day, one of my friends, this is hilarious, tells me that how stupid he is. I said, yeah. I said, you can tell me that you don't like him for a lot of reasons. But please don't tell me he's.
Well, we always say that the people we disagree with are stupid.
That's
pretty
ridiculous.
standard.
I don't
People
think
call
any of
Carter
the
stupid.
any of the people running are stupid. And I think that just shows sometimes people's ignorance. Is that when they just come out and they say stuff.
What have you said about Michelle Bachmann, though?
Michelle Bachmann, I really don't say a lot about Michelle Bachmann because I don't.
No, but I mean, in
I don't
conversations
consider
with you, this
her a
is
real
what-
contender
I
of
don't either.
anything.
She's-
Just kind of like Sarah Palin. You know, and
Sarah was a real
Newt's on the
contender,
money
unfortunately.
on the money train right now. I think that he knows that he's not going to end up anywhere in this. I think that he's doing this for the money. There's a lot of money in this, okay? And he's making a lot of it. And that's what he likes. Because I think in the long run, maybe my prediction will be wrong. I think Obama's going to be reelected. Mainly because more stuff's going to come out and people are sick of this.
All right, hold on to these
Okay.
thoughts, if
Okay.
they are thoughts, and we'll come back with more Gang of Four. But first, on a Friday morning, it's 10:24 into the 550 KTSA newsroom.
Administration said.
Taylor, get a red light.
What? 10:29, the news and talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Gang of Four is on the radio, and Lisa Hunt is here, Cary, Clack, and comedian Jay LaFarr making his first appearance on Gang of Four, and really we're trying to pull him out of his shell and work him into the conversation somehow.
We like him.
All right, so we agree that the Republicans have not put on a show that has benefited them in any way. They're not. This isn't making the case for. Well, I don't know what it's making the case for. Maybe it's making the case that people will say, "Oh, we'll just stick with Obama." I mean, I always say that the way the Republicans should have done this was to take over the idea of the debates, take ownership of it, and say, "We're going to stage them. We're going to pick who moderates them. We're going to pick the rules. We're going to pick the locale. We're going to even hire the production crew, and we will offer this as a take it or leave it package to the networks. They can air it, but we're not going to go to them and say, oh, please interview us, and by the way, you pick the questions, and you can ask us these silly questions about how much we love our wives and our favorite food and stuff like that. I mean, they have no one to blame but themselves that these debates have been circuses, I think.
Yeah.
You don't go to networks where most of the people are biased against you and hope that they will stage a show favorable to your election chances.
Are you saying that the media has a liberal bias?
Oh, no, don't put words in my mouth, Jay.
That would
Careful now there, young man, jumping to conclusions.
They do.
How real is this Gingrich thing? I think people enjoy seeing him bash John King and talk a little trash with Diane Sawyer. Who wouldn't want to do that? But I mean, are people going to make him president over the fact that he has this indignation thing going on?
To me, it's one of the great surprises of this primary season is Newt's ascension not once but twice.
Yeah.
Because I mean he was nowhere for when this started. Then before Iowa he was rising. Then again, okay, we thought that's over,
Yeah.
and then comes South Carolina.
And I agreed with Lisa at first that I thought this was just a book tour. But you know what? It may have started out that way.
That's how I think. I think it
even
started
he's
out that way.
surprised
Yeah.
that he might win this thing.
He's going to stay there to see how long it lasts because he's got an endless amount of cash coming in from
But
this
could
person.
could this happen, or will people realize at some point, just because we like his sort of feistiness with the media, you don't reward him with the presidency?
Well, you're on two tracks right now, and it'll be interesting to see how last night's debate hurt him, because Romney did have his best debate, especially against Newt. Newt looked off his game, but you have this track where Newt's polling well amongst voters, but I've never seen an establishment of any of the two major political parties just come out in force against someone who is one of the top two people who's going to be your nominee. I mean, the entire establishment is against. And it's not like Gingrich is David Duke or Lyndon LaRouche. This is the former Speaker of the House who led the Republican comeback in 1994. But I mean, I think other than
It's amazing
J.C.
how the more
Watts,
people know him, the more people.
that's what's
oppose him.
scary. That's what's scary. But the thing about Newt, I mean, the man is smart. I mean, he's intelligent. I mean, he knows policy.
Yes.
He'll say anything for any reason, and I don't think he's a good person. I don't think he's a good man.
What about that, Jay? I read just the other day that Romney has 72 Republican members of the House endorsing him, and Gingrich has 6. He was the Speaker of the House.
Yeah, I think those people probably don't know.
And the 6 have never met him, apparently.
Yeah, Newt Gingrich is, and this is, I think we've all been talking a bit about. You don't get to that point in politics where you're not a smart person, and you can say what you want about the president or Hillary Clinton, who's an awful human being, but you can say what you want about them. But they're incredibly intelligent people. Jimmy Carter, who was the smartest man who was ever president of the United States.
No. Sorry, Bill Clinton was the smartest man.
No, he was the best at getting his way.
He was the best at getting his way, and he's the smartest.
Oh my God!
What you were saying?
Silly.
Yeah.
You guys know that neither one of them was the smartest president.
Well,
we've ever had.
Bill-
we had
only
some
because
presidents before
there
you
was
were
a
born.
poll.
Jimmy Carter was one of the people who helped basically found the nuclear navy. I mean, he was a brilliant man.
Yes.
He was a businessman. He was a great man, but he was an awful politician. Bill Clinton is probably the best politician that we've had in the last 50 years.
That's probably a good statement.
The best president, of course, Ronald Reagan. But after that,
That's right.
You had
99% of his presidency, he had Alzheimer's.
and he shows that even a Republican with Alzheimer's is better than a Democrat.
Well, it
for
also
long.
shows that he wasn't in charge. Hello.
This is
Then you
fun.
pick good people.
How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing fine.
But you were going.
I apologize.
Jay, you're doing
I
great. What do you
apologize.
think
He's
about
doing great.
Jay? What do you think about Mitt Romney?
Mitt Romney has great hair.
Yes.
I gotta be honest. I was a
You know what I think?
huge
I think if he
supporter
was
for
our
Ron Paul.
president, we at the G8, man, we would have the best looking head of state.
Oh my
and isn't that
God.
important? Isn't it time to have the best looking head of state at the G20? You know, when they have that group photo.
That's true American
Be
exception.
like, there's our president. Look at him.
Obama had better abs than McCain. That's what
Kinda
pushed him
skinny.
over.
Yeah. All right. So you're not a Romney fan. Who do you like? Do you like any of them?
I want someone with Ron Paul's convictions, because Ron Paul doesn't care. He's like, I'm gonna do. This is what I
He
think.
doesn't
is right.
expect to win. He just
Yeah,
wants to
this
say
is this is what I think is right, and this is what we should do. And sometimes it's a little crazy, but I kind
What
of.
about his son, Rand, who will
He's
probably be running for president?
he's going to,
Yeah.
and he'll probably win. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Michelle Obama makes a run for the presidency in another 10 years, because she's already more popular than.
I hope this
most of the
family
first
thing
ladies.
is going to be a phase.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not going to be
The family thing?
No, we like
Where's
that.
she
It's familiar. And besides, again, name recognition.
No, we don't like that.
No, the Bushes, they were a great dynasty. I'm embarrassed about that myself. But George Bush will never know if he was going to be a great president anyways. He had two things that defined his presidency, 9/11 and Katrina. Either one, which would have just if they had
Iraq.
one of those.
In Iraq.
In Iraq, right. Which, but they bombed the, Iraq bombed the Twin Towers with Bibles. I don't know what they did. They, we
Yeah.
didn't find weapons of mass destruction, but they were evil and they deserved to go down anyway, so I don't have a problem with that. But let's stop pretending like the United States isn't the world's law enforcement, and let's just do it. But let's get paid to do it. Let's get oil barrels.
You said something, though, that I hear all the time. And I always say, I think Ron Paul's real name is Ron Paul Butt. Because people always say, I love Ron Paul Butt, or I would vote for Ron Paul Butt. And you kind of sounded like, what is it about Ron Paul that you
He's
just
unelectable.
hesitate?
He can't.
What's the
elect-
crazy part? You said there's some crazy, too.
Because he'll actually speak the truth. He'll say, "Well, I think drugs should be legalized." It's silly that marijuana is illegal.
You think it's crazy to say that, or you think it'd be crazy to do that?
Well, no, it's crazy. Pot should be legal. I'm a conservative Republican. The fact that you can grow it in your backyard and then put a 17-year-old guy in prison for it is stupid to me.
Right.
And the fact,
But it's crazy to say it because
crazy
it's
'cause most
politically
people-
risky.
Yeah, and we live in a very, like it or not, we live in a very Christian conservative country. For the most part, our country has those values, and for some reason, it's okay to drink alcohol, but if you smoke pot, and I'm not a pot smoker. I don't use drugs. I like Jameson Irish whiskey. I mean, that's my choice.
Amen.
Yeah, but he's.
I grow that in my backyard, by the way.
I wish, but I have
over
a
in
tree
C.
of it. I have
A
an orchard.
tree of
Now,
whiskey.
now this is what I think. I don't know if it's the drug thing. I think Ron Paul fails to answer questions carefully that are in the realm of commander-in-chief questions. Like in the Monday debate,
Oh, yeah.
he was asked about the Straits of Hormuz, and he answered like a professor. What he needed to say was, of course, if they block the Straits of Hormuz, I will go to Congress and get a declaration of war. We will blow them up. We'll open the straits. We will defeat them so decisively that they will not challenge us again. That would have been a perfectly good libertarian, non-interventionist answer. That's not nation building. That's not letting the UN tell you when you should send your troops somewhere. But you can't answer a question like that by saying, well, it doesn't really matter. People feel like you're going to get us all killed. And that's my complaint with him. He gives those "he's going to get us all killed" answers because he's being such a theoretician, you know, and that's where he doesn't quite close the circle for me. You got to sound like a commander in chief.
That's a great phrase.
When you're if someone says to you, if someone murdered your daughter, what would you want to have done? You don't say, well, I'd want to seek the strictest penalty, but no, you say, I want to cut his throat.
Well, Dukakis in '88.
It's exactly.
You know, if someone raped and murdered Kitty, oh well, you know, well, you know, no, yeah.
We want a president who's John Wayne,
Yeah.
but we also want one who, you know, when the right time comes, is.
Or Harrison Ford in Air Force One. Just
Ooh, that
get
was
off my
good.
plane. That's
Yeah, that would have been like a badass president, but we don't have that. We
Like Harrison Ford.
He only took out Osama though.
He didn't take out Osama.
Oh, for Lord's sakes,
Oh
who
my-
did?
Yeah, the SEAL team.
Well,
after years
listen,
of
listen,
CIA,
listen.
giving him the.
We know the SEAL team did it. This is not fourth grade.
Jay, he made a gutsy call. Haven't you heard? He made a gutsy call. He wasn't sure whether he should give them permission to go get.
That's right.
It was a gutsy call.
And look at what they've been doing since. I mean, it's like he did it. If George Bush had done it, you'd be sitting here, the two of you, saying George Bush did it. Okay? It's whoever is in charge gets the credit. Period.
No, actually,
this would be like Lisa.
Oh,
this would be
for
like
God's
if
sakes,
Nixon.
people.
This would be like if Nixon took credit for the moon landing, when in fact he'd only been president for 6 months.
Yeah, it's
when
the
it
same
happened.
thing.
It took years to find Bin Laden. And if you're going to give any president's credit, you give both Bush and Obama.
Oh, that's
but I'm with
fine.
Jay. The real
I
credit.
have no problem
the real
with that
credit,
either.
The real credit is to
The real
Special
credit
Forces.
is yes.
But to me, that's like giving
It's the
Jimmy
SEAL
Carter
team.
credit for the Iranian hostages being released when they knew that they were going to be released because the next day Reagan was going to be in office and he would have
but what
wiped
do
them
we
out.
blame Jimmy Carter for? We blame him for the failed hostage rescue.
Yes, we do.
And when
We still do.
And I think it goes without saying that the people who got Osama is the Navy SEAL. But
Yeah.
still, we talk about and
still don't
Obama
believe
did
that.
make the decision not to bomb the compound, but to go in and get them and get that trove of intelligence that they've been using to take out more Al Qaeda leaders.
There's decisions that are made by the president and whoever is sitting in that room that are made in that room at that time.
I mean,
Okay?
you know,
Whether
you
it's
didn't fly
George
in there
Bush,
with a bee on
Ronald
his
Reagan,
chest.
doesn't
Oh, no,
matter
come out.
who it is.
But we can all agree
But the
that
thing
the CIA
is,
was
stop
what
saying
did
he
that.
didn't do
It's-
stuff. Okay? It's kind of like he's
Well,
been
he didn't.
president, but he hasn't done anything. GM is still in the toilet. Oh, it's not him that did it, it's George Bush. It's like, enough already. If people just give the damn credit where it's due, let it happen, and let the chips fall where they may. I mean, at some point he did something right, otherwise we'd be in the frickin' toilet by now.
That was the same
okay?
speech given by one of the followers in Jonestown.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking
Well,
the
talk
Kool-Aid.
about drinking the Kool-Aid. It's like Fox is the Kool-Aid.
Didn't I say?
I listen to
at the beginning of
NPR,
this show,
by the way.
Didn't I say? Cary, did I not say?
Yeah.
Just give it a little time. It looks like I'm not doing anything, right?
I'm sorry.
This is the mastery.
I'm sorry.
It looks like I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
I am making all of this.
He's
I'm
the
pulling all
puppet
of
master.
this.
I'm just saying, it's like I get sick to death. I mean, George Bush did some things right too.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'll raise my hand to that. Okay, but all I hear from people around me is how Obama's stupid. He hasn't done anything. He's the worst
wait a minute,
president.
wait a minute.
On
He
and
didn't
on
say-
and on. I mean,
Everybody
yes,
agreed here
you,
he's
I know
stupid.
that. I'm
Yeah.
accepting Jack because Jack is smart.
No,
he went to a
nobody
good
in the room
school
said he's
and he
stupid.
lived in Massachusetts, so he's got to know something.
Nobody's.
Okay? All right? He's got to have some intelligence to do this every day. Okay? So
Flattery
this is-
will get you
And you
everywhere.
know I
Keep
love
going.
him. And I disagree with him most of the time. But there's a lot of things we do agree on. But I am so sick of this.
Of what?
Of hearing how people tell me what an idiot he is, how he's done nothing.
That's what they're going to say about anybody that
Yeah,
gets.
and-
No,
in
that's
office,
not
that's
true.
what
Those are
happens.
stupid people.
No.
It's like, even George Bush, like I said, You know,
You
Ronald
weren't
Reagan.
saying that when he was
Republicans
president.
have done good things.
You weren't saying that when he was president. You were telling
Well,
us
he isn't.
that he was drooling on himself.
Well, he
It's
pretty
just-
much isn't
That
very-
is political shorthand for I disagree.
I agree with that. I think it happens with every president, but a difference is that with this one, it's and it's not from this radio. It's not from this studio.
Yeah.
But it's the questioning of his birth. It's the questioning of his religion. It's the questioning of his patriotism. It's this developing this other.
The fake Obama.
This
But
other
Cary,
image of
really,
him.
is it that bad?
No,
because throughout our history, we've had rumors and yellow journalism and
Jack. When you look at polls and you see a certain number of people and who still would think that he wasn't born yet, the fact that he would become an issue about his birth. That the fact that he even had to release
but look at the scoreboard, Cary. He's president.
But still, the fact that he had to release the long form birth certificate, and yeah, he's president. I think that's great. But there's still a certain segment. There's still a certain.
If his successor goes through this same BS, will you then admit to me?
If someone questions his wants to see his birth certificate,
Well,
wants to
it's the same kind of.
I agree with you, Jack.
Paranoia.
I agree with you that every president is going to be subjected to some of this crazy stuff. But with him, there have been specific things in terms of deny. Well, you can say that, man, but it's questioning his birth. You don't believe what his religion, and as if being a Muslim was a bad thing. Just this otherness, this picture that's developed of him as being not American. I mean, to me, that's been a more constant refrain with this president than other presidents.
It's absolutely true, and you guys know it.
Let me ask you
Come
this,
on.
though. In all fairness,
And it's not you.
Yeah.
This is what I do when I look at my Republican or conservative candidates. I always try to look and I pick a couple bad things about them. Like, if you could what could you say that was bad about Obama and his presidency?
Was bad. I think sometimes.
What things have been cleared in huge failures that he have done?
I think on housing. I think he could have done a better job on housing. I think the administration does a poor job for someone who's a gifted writer and communicator. I think sometimes he doesn't do a good enough job telling the story of either what the problem is, or what the solution should be, or what he actually did to solve the problem. I think he could be sharp
I don't
on
think
that.
he's given
You're
himself enough
basically
credit.
blaming his speechwriters there.
No, I didn't. I
No.
said him. You asked me about him, and so
But like you just said, he's not doing a good job. That's his speechwriters.
He writes his own stuff, but even when he's on the stuff, when he's communicating, I think he could do a better job himself. He does tend to be too much of a professor sometimes, even in a news conference.
So you're saying he's smart. So you're not. That's like a backhanded compliment.
I'm not giving you the answer that you want, Jay. I'm giving you the answer that as you asked the question.
No, it's because
But
again,
there's a lot. I mean, there's no
policy-wise.
there's no president. And I tell people on the left
It's 'cause
this
people
too.
cannot do that with Obama, though. They will not admit his failures.
There's no president who, no matter how much you love him, no how much you go out there and vote for him, who you're going to agree with on everything, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I don't expect any politician to think exactly the way that I want or do what I want.
Let me take the break here. We'll come back with Gang of Four. 10:46 into the newsroom on 550 KTSA.
Go, Cary, go, Cary. Quite.
that's how they do.
That's
Oh,
why.
I wish you could have heard the last few minutes. Why do we have to play commercials? 10:50, the news and talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Gang of Four never stopped.
This is good.
Lisa Hunt is here, Cary, Clack, Jay LaFarr. By the way, Jay, you're when you're pounding the counter, you turn your mic on and off. So occasionally we've missed some of what you said. So try to hit that button. And Lisa, if you could try to
He
hit
just
that button.
endorsed Obama, by the way.
Which one is that?
Turn your
This
mic off
here.
more often,
This
Lisa.
one right here.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
No, I'm just kidding.
Are people turning us
Just
off?
see the little red light? Just keep
Yeah.
the red on. Keep your red
By the
on.
way, I want to put out there I'm single, ladies. This show will be sponsoring the Win a Dream Date with Jay LaFarr. We'll be going and we'll be burning things in Africa.
I actually think that I sense a strong attraction between you and Lisa.
I think it's
Cary, this
I
is
could do a lot worse, I tell you that.
this is like moonlighting.
I'm right in the middle
You know,
of it.
that
I can
TV
feel it.
series Moonlighting.
I feel it, Jack. I
her
feel
Liz
it.
Taylor glasses and her
And my puppy
crazy
face.
political beliefs.
It's like they're
My
so
Jersey
close
girl.
to just making out. You know?
Close, we were.
James and Mary.
All right.
A little less tongue time.
Let me just bring up a couple of people who are not on the political stage right at the moment and get your opinion on them. We were talking this week about a poll that came out here in Texas of Republicans that gives Rick Perry his lowest approval ratings ever since he's been governor. And in fact, gives him a lower approval rating in the state of Texas among Texas Republicans than Barack Obama has.
Oh, my God.
It also says a majority of these Republicans don't think Rick Perry should run for re-election in 2014. Is Rick Perry over politically?
No.
I hope so. See, what happened was he didn't debate Bill White for some BS reason. Had he, we might have found out sooner that he doesn't know anything. He's not a real savvy debater or talker, or I think that he really has not had to.
Jay,
He's disappeared.
Did you think when he kind of flopped in those debates that it was effective for him to? The strategy seemed to be, I'll make fun of myself, I'll go on the Tonight Show and stuff like that. But in retrospect, I don't think that really worked.
I think that making himself look like a jackass after the fact wasn't good. Though
He should have just said, "So what if I forgot? I'll remember when I'm there."
Yeah, I'll hire smart people around me like every other president does, so that they can advise me, and that's what. Where the biggest foil he had, that commercial about homosexuals and the military.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Where he was wearing the Brokeback Mountain jacket.
Yeah. That for me, that lost because once he did that, I knew okay, I like right a lot. Like when I go to Church's Chicken, I have the 2 right wing meal type thing. But I go. Once you start going to that point, then I know he's going to lose. He's not hit. He's
It's
not
like
a
a
real
moon
player.
colony. It's not what we're worried about right now.
Yeah, those are the things. Gay marriage, in Texas will be the last state to have it, of course. But gay marriage is something which is probably an inevitability. I don't agree with it necessarily because I think marriage is a religious thing, but a civil union's fine. But when that was just. Oh my God, it was embarrassing to watch. And then I had every liberal friend send that to me with comment, and I'm like.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Most of my friends are liberal, by the way, because hanging out with other conservatives isn't fun. I mean, one person holds the cross, the other lights it. You don't want that. It's not a good time.
Two things. I would say that I think he's definitely diminished, and it's coming up to the Republican Party before we find out, because sadly, I still don't know if there's a Democrat yet who could beat him in 2014. To me, it's a question of whether
He can forget all 3 answers and
primary.
probably still win it.
But to me, he is the
Probably.
great example to children of the importance of doing your homework. All the man had to do was study and know the issues that a presidential candidate is supposed to know, and he would be the Republican nominee.
I think you're right about that. All right, Hillary Clinton says this week in an interview, Lisa, that she is ready to step off the high wire of American politics. Her words, "I have made it clear I will stay on till the end of Obama's term." She's saying again, not going to replace Biden, not going to run in 2016 or any other time. And I happen to think that this is exactly what you say
When you're going
when
to
you
run.
know that you're going to do all of those things.
Well, I don't think she's going to be the vice president. I don't think they're going to replace him.
No.
I don't think that that's a good idea.
Well, you would say that as a comedian. You'd say no, Jay, because you're hoping they don't replace him. But,
No, because I just don't. Yeah, you don't switch ships in midstream. Biden's not as horrible a vice president as Clinton would.
but he's good material.
Yeah. But that's what.
Did you hear him do the Indian accent this week when he was giving a speech at call centers and he laughed into like a very like B-movie?
I haven't seen that, and I wish I had.
Yeah, sometimes he just loses it, but that's okay.
He does.
All right, Hillary is she really going to retire?
That's a woman.
Because you know what I'm fascinated. I'm not an admirer of hers, but I'm fascinated by how high her stock has risen from doing nothing. So in other words, we're loving her because she's completely left the stage. She's invisible.
You don't
She's
really
traveling around
you don't
the world.
really hear her commenting on anything.
Maybe that's how
Except
you get ready to run for president.
It's a possibility. I don't know.
Maybe 20 debates and being on TV 3 times
I
a
gotta
week is
tell
not
you,
good.
it's not an important factor in my life as far as an issue right now. I think that we have an immediate problem and it needs to be solved. And I'm not really worried
she's
about
not the
future.
answer to that.
I don't know if she's the answer or not. I like her. She's fine. She's smart. And we'd have to just see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen that far in the future.
She'd be 70 2 in 2016.
See, I don't.
Let's talk about a woman's age.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't think that right now it's
220 pounds.
that it's even on my radar. So, if she ran, that would be fine. If she won, probably that
Well,
would be fine.
I think there's something to be said for make yourself scarce and make your appearances rare and make them matter as opposed
That's what
to,
Rick Perry
hey,
did.
we're back. Here's another debate.
That's what Rick Perry has done the whole time he's been the governor of Texas.
There you go.
How many times have you actually during his tenure have you even seen him?
He's been with Hillary Clinton.
He hasn't.
We have more-
You don't hear him.
We have more Gang of Four coming up after the news. It's 10:57. I can't get these Gang of Four people to talk about anything. I'm having to do all the work here. I've eaten about 4 of these pieces of pastry that Lisa brought in. I actually haven't been in the studio for the last half hour. I wasn't even here.
He's been
I was
noshing.
down the hall in some meetings. This is something else. Taylor said it best. It's a good Gang of Four when they keep talking during the commercial breaks. And they don't even know when they're on the air and when they're not anymore. at
There's
this
no
point.
light.
But we were talking before. I want to ask Jay this. We were talking about the interview that Pat Sajak did. Have you heard this? Where he says that several times in the '80s, when he was taping Wheel of Fortune, he and Vanna White were blitzed.
Really?
That's how they got through it. And have you ever done stand-up comedy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to. Is it like very common? Or
I got a bottle of Jameson tattooed on my arm one
Can we
time.
get a shot of that?
Get
There
that.
you go.
I got
One
that.
picture speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it?
I got that tattooed between shows.
Yeah.
While I was up in Austin, which I hate. Every time I leave Austin, I have to take a shower to wash the stink of hippie off of me. Yeah, I drank. I don't drink much when I work now, just because it's harder to. You want
But
to be
let's face
smarter
it, being
than
a stand-up comedian is not like, I mean, you need to be loose and
People
relaxed.
die
and
if I don't work.
And people are drinking, watching you. So that's not as, it's not the same as going to an office job and being drunk.
Sure it is.
You think?
Sure.
That's your office, the stage
Well,
is your
like
office.
if you were on the radio hammered a little more than you are today,
Yeah.
would it make a difference? I
It
mean,
might be better.
It might. You'd be more relaxed.
My,
you could listen to these
my real
liberals better.
reason is I got to drive in here. If I could get a car, like a chauffeur car, then I'd have no problem drinking during the show.
Or use GPS.
Yeah, I can't drive in though under the influence. That's
Would
the
you
thing.
say the same things? You think? You think that you would
I think
still?
I'd say them, more quickly.
Okay.
If you're drunk too, liberal ideas seem more reasonable.
Yeah, I might start agreeing.
Yeah,
with you. That's how you'll know when I'm drunk.
We can pay for health care.
When I
That's
start saying to
reasonable.
Lisa, that makes a certain amount of sense, Lisa.
I don't have any health care. Okay.
Well, you obviously have health care.
Well, yeah, because I don't have to go to the hospital and have a transfusion yet, so I'm fine.
I've got some Band-Aids. All right, it's 11:10 on the News and Talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Gang of Four, we're down a man. Cary Clack listened to this and realized I can't be doing this and working for a prospective member of Congress. No, he had another thing he had to get to. But we have Jay LaFarr, comedian. Where are you appearing next? Where can we see him?
I will be.
You'll be appearing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
in a few minutes.
2 weeks from now, I'm in Ohio. Then I'm at the Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club in a few weeks, and then River Center. Check the LOL or River Center Comedy Club thing and come out. I also, if I could, quick plug.
Yeah.
I own a defensive driving school.
Yeah.
Motor Mirth Defensive Driving that's in the Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club.
Okay.
So if you get a ticket, come there. I want to start getting married soon. So to Nikki Young.
You're building. There you go. You're building up to that. All right. Some
Throwing
fan
that
mail
out
for
there.
Lisa Hunt.
Oh, please.
Jay writes, Lisa Hunt is a crybaby. She's terrible. and that's,
I'm terrible at what?
you don't deny that.
Life.
I'm not a crybaby.
Jeffrey says, subject line, Mrs. Lefty. Please never invite her back. Her voice makes my ears bleed.
My voice is
I gotta
white.
be honest.
I have a radio voice.
It does make them bleed
Static
a little. Lisa.
radio.
It makes them bleed a little. But it's okay.
I-
I just swab it out. I get a Q-tip. We keep going.
It's these people that just don't like to hear anything that they don't agree with.
All right, let's talk about this. There were 2 things in the news this week that I want to tie together. There was a story about how when President Obama flew into Arizona, the governor of Arizona, Jan Brewer, stuck her finger in his face and they had a little heated exchange. She says he didn't like what I said about him in my new book, which, by the way, is selling a lot better since that
Oh,
moment.
yeah, she's selling a book.
And the Obama people are saying it's no big deal. This was nothing. And then there was also a story, this is kind of, if you're a sports fan, but the president had the Boston Bruins at the White House because they won the Stanley Cup last year. And the goalie for the Bruins, Tim Thomas, is a real Tea Party guy. He's got the Gadsden flag on his mask and stuff. And he decided, as a protest against both parties and the way things are going in Washington, he was not going to go and join his team at the White House. He said it wasn't just Obama. He was very disgusted with both parties. In both cases, I'm hearing people say, you've got to respect the office, you've got to respect the president, this is disrespectful, even if you don't vote for him, you have to respect him. And to me, that sounds like we're subjects. If we had a king, we'd have to respect him. But I think if you have a president and we're citizens of a free country, we're not obligated to respect the office or the person. What do you think about that?
I would beg to differ, only because I mean I love America more than anything. I was raised in a very patriotic family and household. I respect the office. I don't always like the guy who's in the office, and that's been both parties. But I do think we need to show respect for the office because the office means a great deal. The office is America. It's the same with the flag. The flag is a symbol, and you need to respect that as well. You don't have to agree with it, and you know what? And if you don't believe in, hanging a flag out in front of your house, that's fine. But then don't put a watermelon flag or a bunny flag or any of that other nonsense.
But I mean, not displaying the flag is okay, right?
Yes.
Not going to see the president because he's invited the team is okay. Right?
Oh yeah, well that's just a choice, and he did, I think, probably instead of going there and being disrespectful to the president.
I agree.
He chose to abstain and stay home, and I you know what? That was a good choice, I think. Although I gotta be, I'm not.
So what is the definition of respecting the office? So you said we have to respect the office. How do I respect?
I would say the man in the, you can say what you want about it, but in a public forum, it's best not to
Act a fool.
Yeah, I
agree.
It's just so hard. I don't like Obama, but if I would love to meet him, and I would be in awe if I did.
You'd be polite to him.
I would be like a gushing schoolgirl if I met whatever president.
I think we're overawed by
I think that he was foolish not to go, but I respect the fact that he didn't go. That's okay, not to go. That's your right. That's what America's
But
about.
This is American. I can't believe.
Okay.
Was Jan Brewer
and to miss
disrespectful?
that's just it. To miss the opportunity to go to the White House, that is amazing to me. To do
that's everybody's choice, right?
Well, I agree. It's your choice. As far as the governor, she's pandering her book.
Yeah.
She's an amazing person.
I don't doubt that she wants to sell her book, and I'm not accusing her of having higher motivation.
And she must have known somebody
But
was
again, I
watching
don't
her when she
know-
was doing this. When I saw the picture,
That's a photo op.
To me, respect is a two-way street. If I'm the governor of a state that has been treated like a punching bag by the federal government, I don't owe the president respect. I don't owe the federal government respect, whether he represents the federal government or himself. I think we're overawed by people in power.
I think we are too.
I am, yeah.
I don't
think so,
think
too.
a free people should honor an office or honor the person who happens to temporarily occupy it. That sounds like a king to me. Now, that's not the same thing as saying being impolite or hitting him or something. I'm not saying you do that.
No, I don't care
but
what
I
she
don't
does.
believe there's such a thing as you must respect the office no matter who has it. We have been dishonored by these leaders. We have been lied to. We have been done a great disservice. We have been disrespected. We don't automatically owe them respect.
Oh, well said. Well
Good
said.
for you, Jack.
Maybe I can
I think I'm switching the heck with those people then. Next time I see Obama, he's going to get one of these things.
Because I actually say what you say. I would love to see the White House. It's fascinating. I'm fascinated by the history. It might not even occur to me to be offended.
To be disrespectful.
But I can understand.
The awe.
I can understand that he is. And
I love
think we should
Washington
be.
D.C. and every time I go there, I want to do the White House tour, but then I'm hungover that morning, so
I lived there for a year and a half. I've never been in the White
Really?
House.
The Smithsonian
Never been. I've been in the
usually takes a
Capitol
bit of time.
and I've been in the Pentagon, but and it was business and had nothing to do with touring.
I want to meet the mayor of San Antonio, and then I'll try it. I want to work on.
You want to
lower
work your way
levels.
up.
Work
okay.
my way. So
Maybe I
that
can.
way-
Maybe I got to show you the station manager on your way out.
That would be awesome.
It's
I'm pretty
incredible.
exciting.
All right, so right now, every single Republican candidate, I will end Obamacare. I will repeal it on day one, they all say. That's going to be some kind of day one. All the stuff they're going to do on day one. It'll be a very long day. I'm going to make a prediction right now, and I want to get a reaction to it. The new president takes over in January of 2013. It's going to be too late. You're not repealing, you're not taking apart, you're not dismantling Obamacare. The best you can hope for is maybe cutting off some funding, cutting out some of the provisions, giving the states more flexibility. The country is in for a major letdown if they elect a new president and discover it can't be done. I don't think it can be.
I don't think it
I
can
don't
be
think
either.
I think it's the wheels have rolled too far. Now.
And yet, no way could you run right now and say, "Well, folks, I'll try, but I'm not sure." I mean,
which is
can't
sad though.
get
Why
killed.
can't our future leaders or leaders not say, well, look, we really can't, it's already set. We can't do much about it. Well, what we could do is choke off little bits of funding here and there, and if we do that though, that just seems mean.
you can stop funding it. You know, you can stop the future funding of it. You can maybe find a way to give the states waivers or flexibility. But this week, the Secretary of HHS even said we're going to rush it into effect so that people will get used to having it, and then you won't be able to take it away from them. She said that, Kathleen Sebelius. So they know what they're doing. By the time January 2013 rolls around, people will feel like you are robbing them. Right? I'm entitled to this. I have a right to this.
Well, we live in a
What is it
country
about
with
it that
entitlement.
people really hate is what I want to know.
Paying for it.
No, paying for it. We pay for stuff that's worthless 99.9%
I know, we
of the
shouldn't
time.
pay for that
We pay
either.
for jets, for jets that we don't need. We pay for military equipment that we've been told is not necessary. We pay for stuff and we pay for wars where we get nowhere. We make little piles out of big piles in Afghanistan. We're making no progress anywhere. We get ourselves involved. It costs us billions of dollars. And this is what they want to repeal?
Well, it's because
It amazes
you can't
me
pay for it. That's
where
why.
we pay for it. How's it going to affect you? This is what I
pay
don't
taxes,
understand.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I'm
you're not going to pay that much
Americans that
more.
pay tax.
You know,
I'm not going to pay that much more. But I'm
gotta
not going to
tell
get any
you,
benefit out of
I
it.
got to tell you, some things are worth paying for. And I'm going to tell you right now, not having insurance is a scary thing.
Oh, it is. Oh, believe me.
Not being able to get it because your kid has asthma is a scary thing. I don't know where you people live, but
People, do you mean the only other?
I mean, the
people
other
in the room?
where people live, where they,
You people out
where, I know people that pay $1,000 a month for health insurance and really aren't covered all that well. They're still paying, for stuff. It's costing them a huge
Okay.
percent of their
Well, listen,
paycheck.
how much are they sick? I mean, that's the other thing. A lot of people who aren't ill or who are in their most healthy years when they can be saving money and putting it away.
People get sick when they're 8.
Yeah, they do get sick when they're 8, but then you pay for it out of pocket.
Well, that's what insurance is all about.
But insurance, no. If you're paying $1,000 a month for insurance,
Everybody's
that's
paying
$12,000.
okay.
$12,000 a
That's
year.
about what it is.
Over 10 years, that's $120,000. Which, if you put into a Roth IRA, there's your retirement fund, right? I mean, that's just
What I'm saying is
unreasonable
that-
to charge people who are in their 20s to have to pay that much money when they're not going to be sick. Hell, I went to
that's
the
what
doctor
this is all-
3
if
times when I was growing up, and
okay.
one because I had a staph infection in my blood, which I didn't go until I was almost dead. Why? Because my parents, we didn't complain about crap. Now, if a kid has the sniffles, we better take him to the doctor. No, you let him ride it out.
The other thing is that there are people who have coverage. They have no money, and they have coverage. And they're there a lot more because it doesn't really cost them anything.
Yeah.
God help me for saying that, liberal that I am. But that's the truth.
That is true.
They tend to go because they can. I sit with them at the university when I go for my appointment. The only person who pulls out their wallet there is me. Okay? Me and me alone. And every month I get billed for extra, and every month I have to call them and tell them to write it off that I'm a cash patient. I said, I'm going to stop coming there if you keep charging me extra. Stop charging me because you don't get any money from anybody else. Okay? So why is it that the working people in this country should have to suffer the most? They're
Lisa,
the ones that
Lisa,
have to
Lisa,
pay.
Lisa, you're arguing. This argument's we've already had this argument.
I know.
We have Obamacare. Okay, you're making the argument for it.
I'm just saying. What I don't understand.
You want to know why people are upset? Here's
Please
what,
tell me. What, death panels?
Medicare started in 1966. All right. When they passed Medicare, they had an executive session of the House Ways and Means Committee where they were told in private, we can afford this, because members of Congress back then actually we're kind of curious about that. Within a year, it was already over budget. Within 5 years, it cost 2 or 3 times what it was supposed to. Within 10 years, it cost 3 times what it was supposed to. And it's gotten worse and worse and worse.
So's everything else.
So let me finish. So all the assurances that we can pay for this, we know this is going to explode. This is going to run up numbers no one's even suggested. The worst opponents of Obamacare probably haven't projected how bad this will be. So you can make the argument all day long that people need medical care. You're preaching to the converted. We know people need medical care. This is not an affordable or realistic way to do it.
I truly do not believe that they were ever going to come up with anything that both parties agreed on every single issue of every single page of that of the healthcare reform. I just don't think it was ever going to happen. In the meantime, maybe we can get rid of some of the stuff we don't need. I don't know every single thing that's in there, and neither does anybody else who calls in here. You know, they think they've read it, they think they understand it.
You couldn't possibly read it.
You can't understand it. You know, there's a lot of legal rigmarole.
Does it bother
in it.
you that you're defending something that even you admit no one really knows?
I don't know what the future holds, but
Is
I
this
know
a good
that
way to,
I know
is
that
this a
I'd
good way
rather
to
pay
do
for
government?
this.
Should we, instead of solving a problem a piece at a time, or just looking
It
at
was
people,
never gonna
or just
happen.
looking at people who had no insurance and saying, okay, all we care about first are people that want it and don't have it. Why did we have to have a 2,700-page bill
Because that's the way it turned out to be.
whose expenses can't be imagined and whose limitations no one even knows?
And we can. I think that there's certain things that we need to pay for, that we need to find a way to pay for.
Who's we?
Defense.
Who's we?
The country, our budget. It needs to be. We need to just find ways to pay for certain things.
Yeah,
we
if
seem
you're
to. We don't seem to have a problem paying for Afghanistan.
That's because that was a war that we got involved in. We have to win
How do you win that war? That's what.
Well-
When do you win that war, sweetie?
when we get out.
So what if government only did the things that we could all agree needed to be?
All we need is defense, water running through our faucets, and then the highways done. And then everyone else should have to take care of their own things. If you know what, you're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to health care. You're not entitled to money from the government
But
for
what
retirement.
happens is that things get out of hand, and you can't afford it.
Then you still get treatment here. This is what I don't
That's
understand.
what I always said,
If you're indigent, you will still get medical service.
Indigent, yes,
And you-
but me, no.
No.
Nobody's giving me anything.
No, that's 'cause
I have
you're
to
getting
fight.
screwed.
I have to fight for every penny that I get written
And
on.
you know what?
And I'm
If-
good at it.
If you were able, you write off your medical expenses.
I know. I mean, I get them to write some of it off because it's expensive.
Because what they should do is what the insurance companies are charging the hospital, like Medicare, for people who come in and have no money and that the government's paying for them. They don't charge the same rate that they do for you because they charge, I don't know, like half or a
Well,
third or something.
insurance companies, your doctor can bill $10,000. Your doctor can bill
Yeah.
$1 million. They have a contract with the insurance company that the insurance company only allows a certain amount. So it doesn't matter how much, number one, the doctor charges. It doesn't matter how much you charge Medicare. Medicare has a reimbursement system that not only works better than any other insurance company in the country. You always know you're getting your Medicare and your Medicaid money. Strangely enough, for a system that is not working, it works better than anything.
Doctors have better lawyers
Medicare,
than we do.
Unfortunately, the reimbursement is very low, but your Medicare check comes religiously. There's no BS. There's no,
Well, that's
we
easy to
lost
do when
it.
you're the people that print the money also.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, it comes. Whatever the reason is. The system, the Medicare works. You bill it, they
works,
pay you.
It works because people get their checks, but it's not working when it's become the biggest part of our national budget. When pretty soon it will exceed.
It's the biggest part of the budget?
It will exceed all other outlays combined. When Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are about
So
to
what
exceed
what
all
do you
other
suggest we
outlays
do?
combined.
What do you suggest we do about it? How do we fix that? It scares
It
the
doesn't matter
heck
what I
out of me
suggest, Lisa.
that I'm going to be an old person
One
with
day-
little income.
One day the money will be gone. One day this is all going to.
I'm not going to see any of this. I guarantee. When I retire,
Well, maybe
If
there'll be
there's
something
medication-
else.
what we're going to collapse. When all this was
All right,
started,
I'll tell you what. Let's get together 20 years from now
All
and
right,
see.
let me take the break here. We'll come back with our final segment, Gang of Four. It's 11:26 into the newsroom. Clack going. He's also going to Ohio. Is that for comedy or just because you're visiting all
I
the
have a
states?
condo up there. No, yeah, I gotta go up there.
Working your way.
I gotta go
On the water?
shows. Yeah, I travel quite a bit, but I love San Antonio. San Antonio's been a great city for me to start.
Now, how is doing comedy here? Is a San Antonio audience different than an audience in another place, or is it?
Well, it depends. Like downtown at the comedy club, it's a lot more tourists, so it's a very eclectic group of people.
Right.
Up north side, it's mostly local people and military people, and but this city's a lot. It's a very patriotic city, and it's funny because a lot of people who come to town who will talk with a very leftist slant. You love them probably. They don't do as well sometimes because the audience is like, when you can't talk about Jesus like that, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it because I think you should talk about anything you want. If it's funny, it's funny.
Is there anything you will not do comedy about?
No. There's certain things I don't really.
You're just not interested in.
I'm not interested in, but I like me. Like I did a joke about tsunamis the day after they happened in Japan. Which I said, hey, do you think they're still going to do the wave at Japanese soccer?
So that didn't work
games?
out for Gilbert Gottfried, but you're okay.
Yeah, but I'm also not on TV.
Yeah.
So, Gilbert, yeah, he lost the thing for
Yeah,
Affleck.
he did.
Thing for that. Now let me ask you this: when you're do you write stuff out, or is it all in your head, or I mean, how do you do? How does a joke get born with you?
Writing it, and also, sometimes on stage they just write themselves. You present it with something and you respond to it, and it works out funny. But stand-up's like, I think, any other theater type of thing. A lot of it is contrived spontaneity. It looks like you've just created it on stage, but you're plowing through the same crap that you've done before. So,
Because I always hear comedians, say that they go here and they go there to try out new material.
yeah.
And I always think to myself, what audience lets you do that? Doesn't every audience everywhere expect you to be totally on and
Open
funny all
mics.
set?
You can do open mics, or you can do if I'm doing bar shows, or if I'm doing shows where it's a one-nighter type thing, you can work on new material and try things, and you don't feel as bad.
But you got to give people their money's worth.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They paid to see it, and I think people come out, and if they're not laughing or enjoying themselves at a club, that's not their fault. That's your fault, because comics will always say, well, the audience is stupid tonight. Well, if you're that smart, why can't you make dumb people laugh?
There you go.
And you're there to entertain.
Lisa's going to use that line.
I like that. I certainly do.
Do you see stand-up comedic potential in Lisa Hunt?
You know what? I
see
think
talent in the raw.
I think a little nude modeling too, maybe.
Maybe combining the two.
But yeah, you know what?
Then you don't know why they're laughing.
There's a lack
That's
of
true.
women comedians in San Antonio. There's 4 or 5 women who are doing stand up here. Who a couple of them for a while, and Dee McNary and Kim Curley, who used to be on a radio thing in town here. There's a girl, Avery Moore, who's very funny.
You know what's interesting is you see all these younger women now doing comedy who are very good looking.
Yeah.
And it used to be, like I'm thinking Whitney Cummings and people like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it used to be that if you were that hot, you really couldn't be funny because people didn't.
And oddly, they're not usually still. Oh God, Whitney's terrible.
You don't like what you're not. A
No,
Whitney
I
fan?
can't. You know what it is? Because she is gorgeous, and so she has some funny stuff. I can't. I don't even want to.
Interesting.
But I find that usually
It's
people.
distracting.
Yeah, women.
Is that what it is?
The best country music singer for a woman ever was Patsy Cline, and the reason because she was butt ugly. She looked like she'd lived the songs that she sang.
Oh.
It's hard to hear a girl who's absolutely gorgeous saying, "I got dumped the other day."
You mean Carrie
because-
Underwood? We talking about Carrie
Oh my
Underwood?
God, Carrie
people
Underwood.
bounce
She's got a great voice.
Oh yeah, but she's not country. She's pop.
She does. Well, country is little pop because there is no pop anymore. But we don't need to get into what's going on in the music
Yeah,
business.
right. Let's not even get started
All right.
on your hip hop.
I got some
My favorite.
I got some great news for you.
What,
I got some
darling?
great news. Researchers this week have announced that there's no connection between the amount of fried food people eat and their risk of heart disease.
Yay!
What? How did they get that wrong?
I stopped eating fried food like 4 years
There's
ago.
no connection. It all depends on the kind of oil that's used. If you use olive
Really?
oil and clean oil, a lot of fast food is done in recycled or
Yeah.
whatever. But if you're using clean oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, there's no connection between heart disease and the amount of fried food people eat. I want to know how science just every once in a while comes out and announces something that is in direct contradiction to what they've been telling us for decades. In what other job do you get to be that wrong and then go, "Whoops"?
The
It's
weather?
just the opposite.
That's the bacon story. We're back to the bacon's good for you.
Bacon's
No, bacon's
good for
not
you,
good for
yeah.
you. Bacon's bad for you.
Eggs are bad. Now they're your
Eggs
friend.
are good. Coffee's
Omega-3
bad.
fatty
Coffee,
acid. Yeah.
bacon. Your whole
Heroin.
breakfast
Yeah,
is
somehow
screwed up.
something called fatty acid. How can fatty acid be good for me? Fatty and acid together?
It's a
That
lovely
reminds me of
statement,
Jerry
yeah.
Garcia.
Speaking of that, by 2013 there'll be a new product on the shelves called Sativex. It's a marijuana mouth spray.
For what?
British drug company says they have
That's THC or-
developed. It's for medicinal marijuana.
okay.
You won't have to smoke it. It's for patients that would otherwise have to smoke marijuana. They can use this inhaler, basically.
Oh wow.
Does it get you high?
So you have to inhale.
So I would combine them with albuterol
Yeah.
and that way it's for the
I'd
asthmatic drug addict.
I'd also put a little mouthwash in there. I want everything in one,
In
Yeah.
one
in
container.
one little
Yes,
container.
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, why not
And
some
whippets.
riboflavin?
Demi Moore's
Maybe some
whippets.
fatty acids.
Yes, some fatty acids
And whippets.
Whip it. What?
That's stuff that everybody's huffing.
Yeah, well, everybody's huffing,
Well,
not you, right?
Everybody's doing it. Is that
Well,
what
not me. I mean, I don't need to do that.
Yeah,
I've been there, done that. I'm not doing anything
Whatever,
anymore.
Freebird.
I'm lucky I'm alive.
There's also a company, by the way, that has announced an inhalable caffeine. It's
Oh.
called AeroShot.
Why?
Yeah, good question. How about you get a cup of coffee
And drink
you
it.
smell it and then you drink it?
Okay.
Problem
well,
solved.
Sounds good to me.
Well, that's also a good way for kids to, I think, overdose on caffeine because kids would then huff it and
Yeah, it's faster than having to drink one of those,
jolts or a
jolts
5-hour
or
energy drinks
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah. They like immediate
5-hour
gratification.
energy. What is that? What is that stuff?
It's
Does anybody
it's
even
nothing.
know?
It does nothing.
You're on it now.
I drank 3 cups of coffee before I came. I'm not a morning guy. God bless you for getting up in the morning and doing.
I
what you do
don't
every
really.
day.
Thanks for.
What time do you
taking-
get up?
I don't really get up at all. I'm not up now.
You never sleep.
No.
You're
All
like
right.
a vampire.
I like this story. There's a woman going to prison in Pennsylvania. She's been sentenced to, I don't know why it says it this way, 100 months in prison. I thought they gave those terms in years. But anyway, been sentenced to 100 months in prison. This is the woman, you may have heard this story. She faked her own kidnapping. And they found her at Disney World. She faked a story that 2 black guys took her and her 9-year-old daughter and kidnapped her. She was calling in, they want ransom, please leave money here, leave money there. The whole time she was at Disney World.
Okay.
I think that somehow could be an ad for Disney World.
Somehow.
I mean, of all the places you could go, she pulled this off to go to
well,
Disney
she obviously didn't pull it off.
Well, I mean, she got,
I mean,
she got to
she's
Disney
going to
World.
prison.
She got everybody she knew to contribute money to free her from the kidnappers, and she was spending it at Disney World.
Well, why would
That's a
somebody
hell of an
not
ad for
believe
Disney
her?
World.
I mean,
Yeah, they.
You know who
Right.
should don't believe anybody who says a couple of black guys did something.
'Cause that's
Every
never happened
fake
before.
story, but every
Every
fake
fake story is that.
has the unnamed black guys. If you want your story to be
Does
believable,
Newt have a story
say
like
white
that?
guys.
You know, I'd like to hear one story with two black guys that created the cure for cancer. I'd like to hear that one instead of all the negative ones that come out
Well,
of
don't
it.
look at me, Jay. I
Well,
mean,
no.
I'm not the one.
Well, you're a
in
white
charge.
American.
Newt,
so you
ask
clearly
Newt.
hate
best
black
I
Newt
can.
people.
Newt will help you with that.
But I find that people that are making up kidnapping stories and rape stories and all that, they always try to embellish it by making the attacker black.
Was she? Well, because it's sadly believable in some people's
Not
eyes.
anymore. I mean, if everybody
Well, no,
lies is doing
because she also was bad at lying.
because
I mean,
Susan
her whole
Smith did
story-
that, and you know,
I'm sure that it's been done more than once.
Yeah.
So that's why
what
I'm saying,
Texas is famous for that.
you got to get ahead of the curve. You
We're
got to make
famous
your
state.
assailants white people because then you don't look like you're lying about it.
I would go with Arabians. Just
Something a little off the unexpected.
I was kidnapped by 2 Dutch.
Because they never do anything.
They
There
never
you go.
did anything
That's very
except make delicious cheese.
That's very good. I like that. All right. Well, Jay, look, we'll look for you at LOL Comedy Club in Ohio, and hopefully back
Ohio,
in
where?
I'm going
Just
to be up in
Ohio.
Cuyahoga Falls.
Just Ohio. It's not a big.
I'm
state.
excited.
I was
find it.
curious.
No one knows, and no one's going to go up to this. No one's going to come and see
I
me in
was
Ohio.
curious.
We just want you to plug your appearances around.
That's all I want to do is plug stuff when I'm in town. Have me back. This was fun.
Yeah, we loved having you. Do family and friends come to the comedy shows or?
I have. Yeah, my sisters come and see. My parents live up in New York still, so and my mom and dad, they're really proud when I do my skits.
Do your did they approve of you doing comedy, or were they
Yeah,
hoping for
my
a doctor?
mom was a jazz piano player.
Oh, so they were in entertainment.
Yeah, and my father is like Mohawk Indian kind of slash Archie Bunker. So my father's very conservative. My mother is really liberal, and they hate each other. Now it's just a waiting game to see who gets last word. And my dad's idea: if he dies with the toilet seat up, he wins. So he's
That's good.
That is good. All right.
sad.
Jay LaFarr. And Lisa Hunt,
Yes, darling.
you wanted to mention your friends
I wanted to
over at
mention
Williams
that everybody's been
Confection.
eating delicious pastries from Williams Bakery and Confectionery over there in the Brentwood Plaza on top of One Road.
Yeah, very good.
And Miss Joyce will make you anything you want. If you can tell her what it is, she'll make it for you. They have great lunches, great dinner. They're open till like 7 o'clock at night. You can go there and get something to go. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place, and
Well,
it's.
stay well.
I will. I'm
And
much
I don't
better
care
now.
if you do make our ears bleed. We'll make you.
You know what?
Get a
I don't
scab
either.
over, and we'll have you back again.
That's good. Deal.
And don't forget, podcast for Gang of Four this afternoon. Video podcast Gang of Four in high def Monday. I'm looking at Taylor. He's holding the camera. Monday. Be there. Count on it. On our website. It's 11:42 into the 550 KTSA newsroom.